everything new. We live new. A brighter path is calling me and you. Week by week, we grow inside with wisdom as our daily guide. A renewed mind, a journey we will see to become the best of who we're meant to be.
Hi, and welcome to the Renewed Mind Podcast, a space where clarity meets purpose and every thought becomes a step towards a better life. I'm your host, and my name is Tokunbo Akomo, and I'm glad you're here. Each episode is designed to help you pause, reflect, and realign your thinking with the values that truly matter. Through simple, meaningful insights, we explore how a renewed mindset can shape the way you live, respond, and grow. So take a moment to settle in. Let's dive into today's conversation. Now let me ask you this. How many decisions have you made in the last week that you regret? I want you to think about it. And I mean not decisions you made calmly after careful consideration, but decisions you made in anger, in fear, in desperation, in the heat of the moment, when your emotions were in the driver's seat and your wisdom was in the back seat. You said something you couldn't take back. You made a choice that cost you. You reacted instead of responded. And now, you are living with the consequences of that response that you gave. Here is what I've noticed. We don't have an emotion problem. We have a mastery problem. We think our emotions are facts. We think because we feel angry, we have the right to explode. Because we feel afraid, we have permission to run. Because we feel rejected, we have the justification to be isolated. Remember, all of these are just feeling. But what if emotions are just messengers, not masters? What if the moment you learn to pause between the feeling and the action, that's the moment your life changed? So today on Renewed Mind, we'll be looking at the topic, emotions. And the question is, who is actually in control? You or your feelings? Now let's define emotions. And you will love this. Emotions are data, not destiny. The word emotions comes from the Latin emotus, meaning to agitate, to stir up. Emotions are biochemical responses to stimuli. They are real, they are valid, and they are trying to tell you something. But here is the crucial distinction. Emotions are information. They are not instructions. Don't forget that. Your anger is telling you that a boundary has been crossed. That's important data. But anger doesn't get to decide your response. Your anxiety is telling you there's a threat. That's valuable. But anxiety doesn't get to dictate your decisions. Emotional mastery is the ability to feel fully, understand deeply, and then choose wisely. Don't miss those three words. It's not about suppressing emotions. It's not about being cold or robotic. It's about being the author of your response instead of the victim of your reaction. Yes. Here's what most people don't understand. The people who seem calm and collected aren't emotionless. No. They have just created space between their emotions and their actions. In that space lives your power. They've just created that space. Now there are some words that are used instead of emotions, and let's look at them briefly. So we have emotions and feelings. What's the difference between both? Now, this gets used interchangeably because they are not quite the same. An emotion is the immediate physical chemical response, the spike in your chest, the heat in your face, happening before you have even had a thought about it. A feeling is what comes next, the meaning, story, or label your mind attached to that physical response. The emotion is automatic. The feeling is interpreted. This matters because you can't fully control the automatic spike, but you have real influence over the story you attach to it. Yes. Now, emotions and reactions. Emotions are what happens inside you. Reactions are what you do about it. You can feel anger without screaming. You can feel fear without running. Separating this gives you power. Yes. So you have to be able to differentiate between your emotions and reactions. But there are steps that you can engage to have your emotional mastery. And let's go over it briefly. Number one step is recognize your emotional signature. What emotions do you feel most? Anger, sadness, fear. Know yourself. You have to know yourself. The next step is identify your triggers. What consistently ignites you? Rejection, disrespect, feeling unseen. You have to write them down. Yes. The next step, create a pause ritual. When triggered, have a response. Count 1 to 10. Take 3 deep breaths. Step outside. Walk away. All you're doing is you're trying to create a space. Yes. The next step is name the emotion. Say things like, I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling scared. Naming neutralizes the charge. It moves it from your identity to your experience. The next step is ask clarifying questions. What's this emotion telling me? What do I actually need right now? Now, the bigger one is, what will wisdom do? Yes. The next step is choose your response. After the pause, from a calmer place, decide how to respond. This response is conscious. It's yours. Then the last step is reflect and learn. Later, when calm, ask yourself, how did I handle that? What can I learn? What will I do differently next time? All of these steps, if engaged, it will help you to have a mastery of your emotions. Now let's picture these two moments together. There was a man named Marcus who worked in a high pressure job. One day, his boss publicly criticized him in a meeting in front of his entire team. Marcus felt it immediately. The heat in his chest, the flush in his face, the rage. In that moment, he had a choice. He could have exploded, could have defended himself, could have quit right there. Instead, he did something that changed everything. He paused. Yes, he paused. He excused himself, went to the bathroom, took 3 deep breaths, splashed cold water on his face. All of this, he was just trying to create space. In those 2 minutes, something shifted. The rage didn't disappear, but it lost its power. He could think again. When he returned, instead of exploding, he asked calmly, can we discuss this after the meeting? Did you see what has happened to Marcus now? Later, with his boss alone and composed, he said, I was hurt by how that was handled. I want to improve, but I need feedback. That's respectful. His boss listened. They had a real conversation. Yeah? The relationship actually improved. All because of just that thing that Marcus did. Now imagine the other version. If Marcus had reacted in the moment, he might have said something he couldn't take back. He might have damaged his reputation. He might have lost his job. Yeah, because he would have said something that he could not control. 2 minutes of emotional mastery changed the entire outcome. Exactly. Especially between husband and wife, father and son, parent and children, boss and employees. You must be able to master your emotions. Because emotional intelligence is the ability to have a feeling and let it go. Yes, because you are not your emotions. No, you are the observer of your emotions. Don't let your emotions have the hold of you. You must always be conscious of that. See, between stimulus and response, there's a space. In that space is your power to choose your response. Yes, you must always have that pause. Very important. Feelings are much like waves. We can't stop them from coming, but we can choose which one to solve. We can choose which one to solve. And I'm encouraging everyone listening to me that you must be able to work on this habit of mastering your emotions. See, this is what I want you to understand today. You are not your emotions. You are the master of your emotions. You are the master of your emotions. I want you to look at yourself and say, I am not my emotions. I am the master of my emotions. Yes, they will arise. Yes, they will be intense sometimes. Yes, they will try to convince you that they are the truth, but they are not. They are visitors, and you get to decide how long they stay and what you do while they are here. The moment you take responsibility for the space between your feeling and your action, that's when your life transforms. Because that space is where integrity lives. That's where wisdom operates. That's where you become the author of your story instead of a character being tossed around by emotions. So I want you to engage in that this week, that you engage in mastering your emotions. Every conflict you avoided by pausing, every relationship you preserved by responding instead of reacting. Every opportunity you created by being calm and when others panic, all of that came from mastering that space. And you know the beautiful part? This is a skill, not a talent, not something you are born with. A skill that improves with practice. So here is my advice for you this week. In one emotionally charged situation this week, pause before reacting. Without your boss, pause before reacting. With the bus driver, pause before reacting. With your father, pause before reacting. With your lecturer, pause before reacting. When someone triggers, when anger rises, when fear speaks, pause. Take a deep breath. Walk away. Not for hours, not for days. Just pause. Create that sacred space. Breathe. Get clarity. Then choose. And watch what happens. Watch how the outcome changes. Watch how the relationship shifts. Watch how you become more of who you actually want to be. Because emotional mastery isn't about becoming cold. It's about becoming wise. It's about becoming yourself. And as you engage in this act, you will see that this change begins to manifest even in your day-to-day act. Thank you for spending this time with me on the Renewed Mind podcast. I hope today's episode gave you something meaningful to carry into your week. Remember, renewal starts in the mind, with the thoughts you choose and the perspective you embrace. If you found value in today's episode, be sure to follow the podcast and share it with someone who needs it too. And as we close, I want you to say these words with me: that my mind is renewed, that my steps are aligned, that my life is changing, and I become better. Remember that until I see you again, that it's about thinking new and living new. Thank you and have a good week.
Start your Monday with a rising flame, a clearer vision, a higher aim. On every platform, hear the call to stand up stronger after every fall. Renewed mind, we think new, we live new, together finding all that's true. A year of growth, a steady climb, a better